I just cannot believe I'm still sitting here in a game 7 having to deal with Brian Power, Steve Merrill, and Brian Leonard on a Monday. Welcome in. It is the NBA Tip-Off Show. Here we go once again, powered by WagerTalk.com. Had to deal with going up 3-0, and now here we are, 3-3. Yeah, so much for that broom. Might as well ride that thing right to Brian Power's house, because that's about as well as it has gone. But the good news is one game left here tonight. Winner take all. So not all is lost. Not just yet. Anyway, we're going to break this game down for you here tonight. See if we can find a couple of angles. And we're also getting ready now. And the NBA, shocker, gets exactly what it wanted. Not a whole lot of time without basketball, as the finals is starting this Thursday. So only a couple of days off, as opposed to what would have been, I think, horrific with over a week off and no NBA basketball, out of sight, out of mind. So it's worked out for everybody. Will it work out for the Heat or for Boston? Well, that remains to be seen. But Brian Power, either way, on a $9 Monday on this Memorial Day, welcome in. I know you got to have something ready to roll here for $9, no?
Yeah, first of all, Joe, I hope you haven't been sleeping in that hat.
No.
My goodness, if you had it on all week, it looks like it's really on there. But $9 Monday, yes, Joe, we do have some things up. It would be weird if I didn't. It's best bets, one in MLB, one in NBA. You can get them both for just $9. So that's two winners for $9. It's been a great week overall, Joe. Number one in MLB going back to last October, still up over 70 units. We're 17-7, our last 24 there in MLB. And in the NBA, had the Celtics money line in game 4, had the Celtics first half in game 5. I know, much to your chagrin, did not take a position in game 6, but I have something in game 7, and we'll be hitting on side and total here in the next 30 or so minutes. Looking forward to it.
Oh, that is great. I feel better knowing all that now. Brian Leonard, what is happening here, my man? Always a pleasure to see you, as not only a game 7 tonight, but how about a game 6? We can't seem to get to the finals in either of these two sports for some reason, but we're close. Welcome in on a $9 Monday. Anything locked, loaded, ready to roll for us at your page?
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank Brian Power for talking about his positions when us married men aren't getting any. It's awful nice of us to have Vegas and Miami extend these series for the fans, because we know those are the teams that are going to win. Isn't that right, Joe?
That's right. Exactly. Yes. And we're going to be, and don't worry, you and I will get to fly back and forth to watch the Stanley Cup. It was just, all placating. That's all it was. They were just placating the fans. We ultimately know the Panthers and the Knights will meet here in a couple of days anyway. Much like Steve Merrill, what we're going to have here in the NBA Finals starting on Thursday. It is kind of convenient, that they were able to get a few more games squeezed out here, so they won't have a whole lot of downtime between now and Thursday, but nothing like a game 7 in any sport. So what do you got ready for us tonight on a $9 Monday?
Yeah, Joe, hindsight is always 20/20. 20/25 if you have corrective lenses, but we should have known the NBA wanted the game 7 on Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to everyone, even great Canadians like you, Joe Ranieri. And we also should have known when the Lakers swept that they weren't going to allow this one to be a sweep. And we should have known when you were so confident it was going to be a sweep that it wouldn't be. But now that you're so confident the Heat are done, maybe they are the play. Anyway, I'm going down a rabbit hole here. I do have a strong play on the total on this game tonight. So that's a strong $9 best bet on the over-under. By the way, I haven't missed an NBA over-under all season. Perfect 6-0. I don't use them often, but when I have, they've won. So you might want to take a look at that total for just $9. And I also have a free baseball play, a nighttime play for Monday. So a free play and a strong NBA best bet for $9 Monday. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
All right. First of all, for the record, I was the guy holding Heat and 6 and 7 tickets. Not you, Merrill. Not you. And as in fact, the last time I wore this hat on the show, they crushed them by 20 in game 3. So we're going to see exactly what we got here. But I will say this, though. I believe it was Jeffrey in the chat room brought up and said, This is kind of the finals, isn't it? Because is anything we're going to get coming up in the finals in the NBA going to beat what this series drama-wise has brought to the table? I don't know. Remains to be seen. But we got to get through a Game 7 here first tonight, and that's what we're going to do now. See if we can break it down. 7.5. It was 8 briefly, and then down to 7. Now 7.5. We're seeing that total hovering around 204 now at a lot of spots. That was up as 204.5 a little while ago. The money's coming down. So here we go. Another touchdown or more situation in this game. Brian Power, kick it off for us here. 7.5 is what we're seeing. Is that enough to make you want to lay it here tonight against Miami?
Well, first off, I'm going to offer a correction on something I said Saturday on the last call show with Megan Payton, discussing the upcoming NBA Finals that you just touched on there, Joe. I said Denver was going to have the home court advantage in Game 1. That obviously would only be the case if the Nuggets faced Miami, something that I know some of us desperately want. Just wanted to acknowledge the comment section over on YouTube and say I did misspeak there. You know, I do fancy myself as a bit of a professional. Always good to self-critique there when you know you make a mistake, admit it. But I was not wrong, Joe, as I mentioned when I took the Celtics in Game 4 and Game 5. Couple easy winners there. Did not release a client play in Game 6. And I know, Joe, you tried booting me off the airwaves on last call when I didn't commit to a side on that program. Or maybe just in general, you were trying to boot me off the airwaves. I did say under was probably the right call on the total, though. And sure enough, that was. So as we start our look at tonight's Game 7, let's start with the total, okay? Everyone undoubtedly aware of the trends. Game 7 unders, 41 and 24, 63% going back to 2003, including, I believe, 11 and 1 last 12 when you factor out the 2020 bubble. So they're rock fights in Game 7. We saw Game 7 between Boston and Philly last round just barely sneak under the total. It's not a surprise. We've seen some money come in on the under for tonight, although there's been a little bit of a buyback. You mentioned the current number, 204 mostly. One prominent book has it at 203.5 still. A big reason why I lean towards the under, Joe, for Game 6 is because in Game 5, both teams shot pretty well. Collective 50% overall, 40% from 3, and yet there were only 207 points scored with that kind of shooting. Sure enough, teams don't match that kind of shooting in Game 6. We again see 207 total points scored, though. And looking up the box score, what stuck out to me, guys, is how many individual poor shooting nights we saw on both sides. Tatum was 8 of 22, including 0 of 8 for 3, including Tatum and Jaylen Brown. In fact, they were 0 of 12 from 3 combined. And on the Miami side, Jimmy Butler, 5 of 21. Bam Adebayo, 4 of 16. As a team, Joe, this was unbelievable. I checked the math 3 times because I did not want to misspeak here. The Heat from 2-point range in Game 6 were 19 of 63. That is 30%. When was the last time a team shot 30% inside the arc? It's been a while, I think. So how did they get to 207 again? It was the charity stripe. They were combined 63 free throw attempts in Game 6. I don't think there's any way we're getting to 63 free throw attempts tonight. Refs tend to swallow the whistles in Game 7. Oh, by the way, Scott Foster alert. And Joe, I'm sure you're well aware when him and Tony Brothers are officiating a Miami Heat game this year. Not only are they 0-10 straight up, the Heat, they're 0-10 against the number. But what I think Miami fans should be most concerned about, and I know you know a few, Joe, what they need to be most concerned about is the fact that he did shoot well from 3 in the last game. 46%. Celtics just 20% from behind the arc, including 0 for 18 when you factor out Marcus Smart and Derek White. On the road tonight, I find it hard to believe the Heat will once again be getting twice as many points from behind the 3-point line as the Celtics, like they did in Game 6. I'll have more on the side in our best bet segment, but yeah, I think it's gonna be a low-scoring game probably here again.
Leaning towards a low-scoring game in this one, but listen, Brian, I know everyone east of the Mississippi, west of the Mississippi, north, south, everywhere in between. I don't think there's anybody that believes Miami can win this game here tonight, but that's a problem with a Boston team that's 11-8 straight up and 10-9 against the number, I believe, this postseason, and just 5-5 straight up and against the number at home. That's an awful lot of confidence for a team that has proven untrustworthy in a whole lot of situations here. So, what gives here tonight in this matchup?
Yeah, I agree. I always want to be on the team that nobody else wants. Miami takes a 3-0 lead. It was still hard for anybody to believe that it was a 3-0 Miami lead. I talked about this before the series started. The two teams had played 4 regular season games. They split them. They've not played 8 games, and they've split them. Why is this line 7.5 here? Miami's an excellent team on the road. They're an excellent team as an underdog. And as was pointed out, Boston really has not played well in the playoffs at home. My question for the group is, who's the pressure on? Which team has the pressure? Is it Miami, who has blown 3 straight games, that isn't expected to win here? Or is it Boston, who fought all the way back to make it to a home game, and now they can't possibly lose at home, can they? I don't want Boston here. I think the Miami's the right side in this one. So much has been talked about by the 3-point shooting in this series. If Boston hits 3-pointers, they win. Boston doesn't hit 3-pointers, they don't cover. They did. I would say they would lose, but they got that lucky tip in for the last game, so they ended up getting a straight-up victory. But unless Boston shoots well from 3, they're not going to cover the spread. Boston's a team that has not won by margins in this series. I believe just a 1 game, a blowout situation. And Miami, I believe, in all 3 of their games that they came back to win, they were down by like double digits. So this is a team, when it comes down to the 4th quarter and it's a tight game, do you really think the Celtics are going to have confidence against this Miami team who keeps coming back? I'll take the 7.5 points here. To me, this is the only way to look at this one. I'm not laying a big number with a team that has proven that they're not that much better in this actual matchup. If this was a regular season game with all the travel and everything going on, yeah, Boston's a better team, no doubt about it. But in the playoffs against Miami here, they haven't proven to me that they're any better.
Yeah, it's an awful lot of faith and an awful lot of points to be entrusting in a team that is 500 at best so far here, Merrill. I mean, not the team that's the best on paper don't always win. Now, granted, if we were laying 1 or if this was minus 150, we'd probably having a different conversation. But to lay $3 and over a touchdown on a team that is 500 is a little bit worrisome, is it not?
Well, one thing that's interesting about this series, well, first of all, the reason everyone's saying Miami doesn't have a chance, I think at long term it's 78% Game 7 home teams win straight up. But as Jeff Michaels pointed out last Friday when we were heading into Game 6, when we did Wager Talk today, road teams at the time were 15-7. Now in this series, the road team is now 16-7 straight up. Now the Celtics technically didn't cover, so it's no longer the same ATS record. But basically 16-7 the last 23 times Miami and Boston have played, the road team has won. And it's been 4 out of the 6 in this series so far. So you could definitely make a case that there's not all that much home court. And I think it makes sense. I think the Celtics play with a little bit of pressure at the Garden. And Miami really has nothing to lose at this point. But do they have nothing to lose? And Charles Barkley, who might be the greatest fade in the history of sports betting, said all the pressure is on the Celtics. And I don't agree with that. I mean, Miami's looking to become the first team out of 150 times to blow a 3-0 lead. The Celtics, although they are the favorite, to win the series when it started, they vastly underperformed. I don't almost feel like they're playing on borrowed time now, and it's almost free time. So I'm not so sure the pressure is on the Celtics. And if that's the case, it gets me liking Boston in this game. And Brian Power had an excellent point about Game 6. It jumped out to me as well. If you had told me that the Celtics were going to be outshot by 21 points from 3-point range and they're going to have 7 more turnovers, I would be doing this from the homeless shelter because I would have lost my house loading up on Miami. Now, the Miami did still cover, I guess, so technically it held up. And by the way, since the Heat did cover, it's now 6-0 against the spread, the team with the higher 3-point shooting percentage and lower turnovers in this series. So once again, if you can predict that tonight, it'll likely point you to the winner against the point spread and straight up. I think that's more likely Boston. I don't think they're playing tight. I think they're in great momentum here. And, Boston had a 10-point lead late in that game, despite being vastly outshot from 3-point range. They still were pulling ahead in that game, even though they ended up not covering because of that questionable 3-point play by Jimmy Butler late. I think the Celtics are the way to play this one. And getting back to the dynamic duo. We get both Scott Foster and Tony Brothers. Boy, what a treat. Didn't realize Tony Brothers is actually from Virginia, Scott Foster from Maryland, so don't hold that against me. As we pointed out before, Scott Foster's favorite movie of all time is Braveheart. Tony Brothers' favorite show of all time is 24. I do respect that call there. So we'll see how it plays out. I mean, I don't know if the league has a preferred side. You would think it's probably the Celtics against the Nuggets, so if I had to guess.
I don't know how a team that has been an underdog, but once this entire playoff series doesn't feel the pressure, as opposed to a team that has been a favorite just once, maybe, if that. This is all on Boston. Don't forget, Boston fans were about ready to implode after game 3. The coach had to be fired. Everybody had. What is going to happen if they lose a game 7 here tonight on their own home court? The whole damn fan base is going to explode. They're going to want absolute blood. Nobody is going to care if Miami loses 4 straight here as an 8 seed. You can't sell me on the fact that Miami's feeling the pressure. This is all on Boston because things will go terribly wrong tomorrow if they don't win this game. But winning and covering, 2 totally different things here, Brian Powers. So you have an opportunity here and be on the right side of history. So give me 60 seconds here. And before I cut his mic off, let's hear what he's got to say for a best bet here. Brian, where are you going with that?
Well, it's nice to know, win or lose, Joe, you're going to be in a happy mood tomorrow morning. I think that's all we care about. So a week ago on this show, we were all laughing about the fact that, hey, we might as well start handicapping a Nuggets Heat NBA Finals, right? Well, Boston already just the 15th team to force a game 6 and just the 4th to force a game 7 after trailing a playoff series 0-3. They are the first ever to host a game 7 after being down 0-3. Certainly all the momentum, hate that word, is in their camp. Trends favor Boston here. Game 7 favorites of at least 4.5 points. They're 34-9 straight up since 0-3. Teams that lost game 6 at home and now on the road for game 7, like Miami, 9-18 straight up. 76ers failed in this exact same spot last round. I think 3-point variance is a key here. I talked about it earlier. I just don't think Miami's getting away with the kind of 3-point advantage they had in game 6. They might shoot better, but if they do, it's going to be from 2, not 3. Last time I checked, 2 is less than 3. Miami scores less than they did in game 6. Boston makes history and covers the spread.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. There was a little interference. I don't know what happened there. That's amazing. Don't know what that. No, that's a shame.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
In the second
All
round.
right, let's move on if we could here. I don't know what happened to his microphone there, Brian. I couldn't get the best bet out of him there. So what are you thinking here, Brian Leonard? You too have the opportunity to be on the right side of history here. Tell me, what are you thinking about a best bet here tonight?
You know, luckily I haven't spent many times in a hospital, but it sounded like a cold blue to me. Something was dying. I think that was his play. Steve was talking about the pressure. I agree with you. I think the pressure is all on Boston here. Keep in mind, the Mickey Mouse organization before this playoff said that Boston had a 97% chance of winning this series. So how is Miami going to be looked at with only a 3% chance to win the series, according to the Mickey Mouse station? I'm not a big ESPN fan, I got to say. Anyway, I'm going to take a look at Miami here. There's been a lot of nice talk here about teams winning straight up. I don't care if Miami wins straight up or not. I hope they do for your account, living down there. But getting the 7.5 points is too much. I'm going to take Miami plus the 7.5 here, and that's going to be my best bet on the show.
Very nice. Outstanding job there, Brian Leonard. Well said. Just well said. All right, Merrill. Pot luck here, man. 60 seconds. Woo! May want to reevaluate whatever this answer is going to be of yours here. 60 seconds. Where are you going, Merrill?
God, I could either get buzzed for giving out the Celtics or be liked by Joe Ranieri for giving out the Heat. But what makes me a great American on Memorial Day is I don't give in to pressure from Canadians like Joe Ranieri. And I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics minus 7.5 in Game 7 tonight as a free play for this show. But my strongest play is the over-under in this game. That is a best bet at WagerTalk.com for $9 Monday. 6-0, 100% this year on NBA totals. That's right. I've only released 6 of them. They've all won. This is the 7th one this season. Go get it for just $9 Monday night and a free baseball play as well. Celtics are the better team. I know they were down 0-3, but they have been trying to break history ever since, and I think they will tonight become the first team out of 151 opportunities to come back from an 0-3 deficit. They do it at home. Miami shot lights out from 3, less turnovers. They still couldn't win Game 6. That's not a good sign in Game 7. Boston Celtics minus the 7.5 on the side. And don't forget a strong best bet on the total, $9 Monday, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
Mm-hmm. Was that a total bet there? Was that what that was? Brian, how's your microphone? Everything all right there? Let's see if we can recap that one more time, if we could, as Brian Power, let's see, Brian, well, nobody really cares. Brian Leonard, however, went Miami plus 7.5. Outstanding choice there, Brian. And Steve Merrill just went, nobody really listened to that either. So bottom line here, guys, on a $9 Monday, is the best bets are all available over at WagerTalk.com. You can visit Brian Leonard, only Brian Leonard. That's where I would go at this point. Go make sure you check out his best bets now over at WagerTalk.com. It is $9 best bet after all, and you can grab them all here, guys, for $9 tonight. And yes, Tyler Hero is questionable for this game. There is some chatter that he might actually be in uniform and on the court tonight. We will see what happens. Either way, you got to love a Game 7 in all of sports. And also, don't forget Game 6 here tonight in the NHL. And either way, we'll be back again Thursday. We've got a championship, and we got to get ourselves a winner this year in the association. So we'll be back on Wednesday. We'll go ahead and take a preview of what that is going to be on Thursday. And then, of course, we've got you covered right through the finals championship there. And whoever it may be that is crowned, will it be Denver? Will it be Boston? Will it be Miami? We've got you covered here on the NBA Tip-Off Show. So until then, on behalf of Brian Leonard, want to thank him a lot again for coming on and spending some time here. As far as, I don't know who else there was, but it's been a pleasure, guys. Best of luck with all the plays tonight. We'll be back again on Wednesday. Come back and join us. Until then, good luck, guys. Cash those tickets.